Hello friends, we are back in the physiology classroom and today I will be continuing the discussion on regulation of blood pressure. We have already talked in the previous video, we had stopped at the baroreceptors, the structure of baroreceptors. And we said that baroreceptors, we have, what are the types of baroreceptors? We have carotid sinus and we have aortic sinus, isn't it? Before that, we also said there is the way regulation is happening. There is a short-term regulation, there is a long-term regulation. Some are rapidly acting, some are intermediately acting, isn't it? And I told you that we put them under two broad headings, that is neuronal regulation, like this. We said we put them under these things: neuronal regulation and what? Neuronal plus renal. Neuronal plus renal. Which of the following is long term? Which of the following is long term, by the way? Yes, my dears. Yeah, so long term should be exactly. Long term is hormonal and renal. Sorry, not neuronal. It's hormonal and renal. Hormonal and renal. Okay, hormonal and renal. Now we have written those baroreceptors and all. Now it comes under the neuronal mechanism. But do we remember that we wrote it under the reflex? We wrote some baroreceptor reflex. You should add there some points. You should add there some points, or you can write like this. So reflex mechanisms, for that chart you need to add something. Okay, rapidly acting, yeah. For neuronal mechanism, uh, or you can keep it like that, it's not a problem. Okay, but just keep it in the mind that it's a neural mechanism. It's a neural mechanism. Okay, now neural mechanism, that means there are some higher centers in the brain which are controlling your blood pressure. That means we should study those centers. So that means there can be an autonomic regulation, isn't it? Autonomic, like we said, the autonomic nervous system. So autonomic nerve control can be, sorry, autonomic regulation can be there, which is a type of neural mechanism, isn't it? Isn't it, friends? I'm making it expanded now. Okay, that is the broad thing before the exams, what you have to revise: rapidly acting, fast acting. That is a small box for you, but now a detailed study of those things, how everything is happening, that is what you need. And that is how you will be treating the patient also. Okay, of high blood pressure. Now, neuronal mechanism, can I say autonomic nervous has two systems, sympathetic and parasympathetic? We need your answers fast, because then only we can proceed fast, otherwise we will not finish it. Sympathetic control, parasympathetic control. Sympathetic control, parasympathetic control. Okay, can I say there can be a medullary control also? Medullary control. I am teaching the blood pressure in detail. I have taught the pulse in detail. I have taught the factors affecting the pulse in detail, so that you can become very much confident that how things are working. And I hope you have enjoyed it, isn't it? I hope you have studied at home also and enjoyed it, how things are working, isn't it? Or not? So we have medullary control. There is a part in the central nervous system, your brain, that is hypothalamus. Can I say hypothalamic control also? Can I say hypothalamic control? I am putting them under the neural. See, it's a type of neuron. Neural, isn't it? So you have cortex also. This is your cortex, isn't it? Your cortex. This is your cortex. So this cortex can also control. This cortex has many control in your body. I'll be teaching you in neurophysiology. So cortical regulation, cortical control is a type of neural mechanism, isn't it? Is a type of neural mechanism. This is a type of neural mechanism. This is a type of neural mechanism. We have here midbrain, pons, medulla, isn't it? This is the way we used to make. So this is the cerebrum. or you call it mostly this region as cortex. Okay, that cortex parts I will be teaching you in detail, in great detail, in neuroanatomy or neurophysiology. This is your midbrain. This is pons, medulla. Okay, so we have some control happening here, and this is a cerebellum on the dorsal side. Okay, cerebellum. So I'll be teaching you in detail. So there can be a cortical control. This is, I call it cerebral cortex. So cortical control, this control. I am taking it. There can be medullary control, medullary control, isn't it? So there can be hypothalamic control, hypothalamic control. Okay, hypothalamic control. There can be reflexes, like we wrote the baroreceptor reflex. So how many reflexes can be there under the neural reflex? You understand that something happened and central nervous system is reacting. So there can be reflex control. What reflex control can we have? What reflex control can we have? We can have baroreceptor reflex control, baroreceptor reflex. We can have chemoreceptor reflex, chemoreceptor reflex. What I'm writing, chemoreceptor receptor, okay. Chemoreceptor reflex, we have chemoreceptor reflex. Okay, we have Cushing's reflex. What else? Somatosympathetic reflex. Do we remember? I will be teaching you these things in neuro. Somatosympathetic reflex. Atrial stretch reflex is there. Atrial stretch reflex. Okay, ventricular stretch reflex. Ventricular stretch reflex. Pulmonary stretch reflex. Stretch reflex. What else? Coronary chemoreflex, isn't it? That will also come under this mechanism. Okay, so coronary chemoreflex will be basically your they are basically in some non-physiological ways. Okay, so you can write coronary chemoreflex. What else? Pulmonary chemoreflex. Okay, and we remember from the previous discussion the Bainbridge reflex. Okay, so are these all happening? Reflex, are these under neural? Are these under neural? So can I say it is the neuronal regulation? Fine. And we said already short-term regulation by dash. Short-term regulation by dash. We are eating chocolates also, isn't it? We are eating chips also, by the way, while we are learning, isn't it? To remain calm. So we have very nice. So long term is by dash. Long term by dash dash. Hormonal and renal. Hormonal and renal. Fine. Very nice. Should we study them in detail? Okay, let me tell you what by other this was about neural. So is there also will there be also involvement of vessels when you are doing a neuronal thing? Definitely, sir. Blood pressure we learned, TPR and all that. So should I say some vascular mechanisms will be also in play? It's under the, remember, it is under the short-term regulation what we are learning. Okay, we are learning the short-term regulation. short-term regulation, then we are saying it is neuronal, and then neuronal we are talking these things. Okay, how we will understand autonomic regulation and everything. And under the short term, there should be another. This is one. Neuronal should be named as one. Second should be vessels. So by vessel mechanism. Are we able to understand? Are we able to understand, my dears, or not? We are right now going to study short-term regulation, and we said short-term regulation is by neuronal mechanism. But short-term regulation, in turn, there will be also some fluid which will be also regulating it. Okay, so there are also some vascular mechanisms in play in the short-term regulation. Okay, like we have stress relaxation, like we have capillary fluid shift. Okay, so these are basically the parts of the family. It's mainly happening through the neural mechanism, but you have contributions from various other factors, because you are not actually controlling one thing. You are doing one thing to control other things, or some things are contributively, contribute. They are together coming, and then they are doing something. Are we clear, my dears? Are we clear? So that's why I wrote the vessel mechanism. Don't think that, sir, you told us it's by long term, short term is by neural. Basically, it's a common sense. Neuronal is basically exactly neural is the mechanism, but there will be some, no, it's basically a factory. So you can't, if you stop one person, then other person will also be affected. So that's what is the basically everything is a dependent mechanism. So we have stress relaxation, we have capillary fluid mechanism. Okay, number 3, I can write the best. What to write? Should we write some hormonal mechanisms which are also doing something in the hormonal this short-term regulation also? Now they can be starting as a point of short-term, ending. For example, the short-term regulation is becoming at a peak, and then we are landing into the long-term mechanism. Are we clear? So we can write in that way. So please understand the things. Okay? Don't keep something a strict thing. Okay. So third, I can say you can put it under the hormonal mechanisms. Hormonal mechanisms. So hormonal mechanisms can be, you have to just start writing. Should remember on the tip of your tongue the hormones in the blood pressure. Should remember them by heart. Okay. So we have how to remember mnemonic. Sir, mnemonic should be given. Yes, let us give you. Crack. Crack. Who? Crack who? Yeah, exactly. Crack ECG will be coming soon. I will be giving you the videos how to crack ECG for the third year cardiology people, how to help you in the hospital, and also hack radiology, how to hack radiology. That are the two things which are right now everyone is asking, and I don't have time basically due to the busy schedule, but I would definitely give you that gift. Okay, so this is crack here. Okay, so crack here. Okay, so how to remember crack here? Crack here is catecholamines. What are catecholamines? Epinephrine, norepinephrine, isn't it? Do we remember? Or renin angiotensin system. Do we remember we only wrote RAS, we did not wrote RAAS. We only wrote renin angiotensin system last time. I told you the two differences is, last time. We don't have to write always the RAS. Yeah, I hope you remember. ADH is anti-diuretic hormone. Anti-diuretic hormone. ADH. This A stands for ANP, that is atrial natriuretic peptide. Atrial natriuretic peptide. Atrial natriuretic peptide. Okay, fine. K stands for kinin, kallikrein system. Okay, E stands for endothelin. E is a square. Okay, E is a square. E is a square. So there are two. This one E is here, another is EDRF. Okay, H stands for histamine. A stands for adrenomedullin. Adrenomedullin. Are we clear? Have we written these? Now let us go into this autonomic. Where did we write? Let us go into this sympathetic control. Okay, sympathetic control and parasympathetic control. You have two systems in play, that is autonomic, parasympathetic and sympathetic. These are the components of autonomic nervous system. But which of the following will be dominant? It is the sympathetic which is dominant over the, means who is mainly controlling it. It is the sympathetic. Why sir sympathetic? Because your all the vasculature is being supplied by sympathetic fibers. They don't have, do they have parasympathetic? No, innervation, no. They have mostly sympathetic fiber innervation. So since your all blood vessels have more of the sympathetic innervation, that's why we say sympathetic will be dominating. Enzymes are not there to stop. What do you mean by this? Please repeat your question. Enzymes are not there to stop which? Yeah, that is also another factor. Okay, but right now for the first year people just writing this. Okay, so this is the um, sympathetic control, which is more over the parasympathetic. Okay, so every system which has to function to control the blood pressure has to do something to the blood vessels, and that is being done by the sympathetic control. In one way or the other, you have to reach to the blood vessel so that you can control them. Can we relate that? Yes sir, definitely. You have taught us diastolic BP, you have taught us systolic BP, you have taught us total peripheral resistance, you have taught us cardiac output, stroke volume, everything is already taught to you. That's why I came to the BP in the end. Okay, now you can have, that means sir, if you have to change the blood pressure, that means either you should vasodilate, either you should, or you should vasoconstrict. So can I say sympathetic control can be happening by two mechanisms again? Sympathetic control, if I take this sympathetic control this sympathetic control can be either causing vasoconstriction or vasodilatation. Vasoconstriction means they can narrow the lumen of the vessel, or dilate means it can dilate the vessel. If you are not able to understand, you should in the mid ask me, but don't sleep. Okay, we are also recording for you, you can listen again, but just keep replying me. So we can have a vasoconstrictor systems happening, we can have a vasodilating systems happening. Now which hormone does vasoconstriction? Which neurotransmitter? Noradrenaline, isn't it? If I talk about this vasoconstriction, vasoconstriction is caused by norepinephrine. Norepinephrine causes vasoconstriction, isn't it? That means if you stimulate these nerve fibers, noradrenergic fibers, if you stimulate these noradrenergic fibers, what are noradrenergic fibers? Those nerve fibers which are secreting noradrenaline, noradrenaline on the surface of the blood vessel, which cause its vasoconstriction. Now, please tell me, if you stimulate noradrenergic fiber, you will do dash to BP. So BP will definitely increase, isn't it? BP will definitely increase. Mostly the diastolic BP, isn't it? DBP, to be more precise. So you'll be increasing the BP. Very nice answer. Okay. Now, before understanding what fibers are coming, I want to show you a section of spinal cord. So let us draw a diagram so that you can understand this mechanism of vasoconstrictor process. Okay. Now see, when you cut a section of spinal cord, if you cut a section, this is your spinal cord, for example. This is your spinal cord, okay, running in your vertebral column. So what you see is uh, there are some, some things are like this. Let me make for you small. So there is something like this, something like this. Okay. So I know you haven't read this, but just for here you have to understand that you have this. So now if I cut this spinal cord, okay, if I cut this spinal cord here, I cut this spinal cord, what will happen? What I am going to see. So if I cut it and then I do something like this, no, I'm looking it from here. I'm looking it downstairs from here. Okay, can we understand? So this is the section I have taken. Okay, this section will be here also, but there will be some minor differences according to the level of the spinal cord. Okay, so if I cut it and now I present to you a section of this, so section of the spinal cord will be like this. So if you see, we can see this section of spinal cord, not going into more in detail, but if you can understand that this is a gray matter is in the center. Gray matter is in the center. This is your gray matter. Okay. So in your nervous system, in your cerebrum, it's opposite. The gray matter is outside and white matter is inside, isn't it? So I'll be teaching you in the CNS. But here remember that this is the gray matter which is inside. Gray matter is inside. This is your gray matter. Okay. Okay, fine. So this gray matter is divided into two sections. If you see, this section is called, let me take another color. This region will be called a dorsal horn. This is the dorsal horn of spinal cord, gray matter, and this is the ventral horn. Okay, like here also dorsal horn, ventral. What should be in between dorsal and ventral horn? Intermediate, something sort of an intermediate, isn't it? So can I say it is intermediate? Can I say it is intermediate? Let us write like this, intermediate. Okay, sir, I wrote intermediate. Can I say it is more towards lateral side? Because what is lateral? Lateral is more going away from the body cavity. Medial is more towards the, can I say it is intermediolateral? See, it's so easy, isn't it? Intermediolateral. Intermediolateral. It's a common word. So, no, it's not. So it is intermediolateral gray matter. Fine. Now okay, this intermedio is having some connections. That's what you have to remember. Okay, from these intermediolateral gray matter of spinal cord, you are having some fibers which will be coming out. So I have to remove this and take some fibers. So I will take the fibers like this. So we have some fibers which are coming. fibers. Okay, let me take yellow color for this fiber. So first a fiber will come out, and this fiber will end into, let me make it like this. A fiber will come out like this. Let me make from this side. Okay, a fiber will come out from this region. So a fiber will come from this region, and this fiber will end in a ganglion that is called paravertebral ganglion. Here you will be having a ganglion. I hope you remember the ganglion, collection of cell bodies. Collection of cell bodies outside the CNS is called, what should be this called? Ganglion. Ganglion is the collection of cell bodies outside the CNS, outside the CNS. Okay. So from this ganglion, this is called paravertebral ganglion. Can you see I made it near to the vertebra? If this is the vertebra of the patient, I have made it near. That's why I call it paravertebral ganglion. This is paravertebral ganglion. Third year people are not studying, that's why I want to explain it more. Paravertebral ganglion. This is paravertebral ganglion. Let me write vertebra clear so that you don't forget. Paravertebral ganglion. From this paravertebral ganglion, what will happen? You will be having some connections. One connection will go into heart. Let us make heart with a red color, isn't it? Because these days my heart is also red. So I should make like this. So this is heart. Okay. So one connection goes to the heart. Next connection will go into, from this next connection will go into, next connection will go. See, one connection goes to the heart. From this same connection, you will be having connection to the blood vessel. So connection to the blood vessel. So from here, we will be taking another connection to the blood vessel. Okay. And now next connection will be to the adrenal gland. So I go down to the body, to the kidney, kidney. I have there adrenal medulla. So I make a kidney for you. So this is the kidney, and we have a suprarenal gland here, that is this gland has an adrenal medulla. So you will be having innervation in the adrenal medulla. Okay, medulla. Adrenal medulla. Fine. Can we now understand this? Is it difficult? Okay. Did you see that there was no ganglion? Did I make any ganglion for adrenal medulla? See, you should be anatomically correct. Everything should come in the brain. Did I make any ganglion for the adrenal medulla when that nerve fiber was coming from the spinal cord? But did I make a ganglion for heart and blood vessel? Yeah. The reason is that adrenal medulla is basically derived from dash. Yes, third year, second year people, pharmacology. Adrenal medulla is derived from dash. Beautiful answer. Neural crest cell. And neural crest cell means it's itself a collection of nerve fibers. Okay, so it itself behaves as a ganglion. So it's itself an organ. It does not need a Ganglion. It's not having any ganglion. Okay. So this is why you have to remember there is no ganglion, because everything coming from our nervous system, it has what? It has ganglion, isn't it? It can be a preganglionic. So a fiber which is ending on a ganglion, this is ganglion. If I go from this direction, so if this is a ganglion, this round is a ganglion collection of this. So this should be a preganglionic fiber. What? Preganglionic. And this should be a postganglionic fiber. Postganglionic fiber, isn't it? If this is a preganglionic fiber, this is a postganglionic fiber. Are we clear, first year people? So this is a ganglion, and from this ganglion fiber, before it will be preganglionic fiber, fiber after it will be a postganglionic fiber, and that will depend on the next what we will be studying. The sympathetic fiber is there, parasympathetic fiber is there. So that I will be telling you. Preganglionic parasympathetic fiber is long. I will be teaching you in nervous system. Okay, don't go into that detail. Just here you want to remember that this was a ganglion. That means what should be the fiber? What fiber should be from this region to this region? Which fiber should be this? Just a second. Don't answer unless and until I don't make again. What is this fiber? The distance from here to here. The distance from here to here should be which fiber? Preganglionic fiber. Preganglionic. Very nice. And the fiber which is coming from this to this will be a postganglionic fiber. Are we clear? Is there any doubt? Is there any doubt in this? Easy concepts, but people forget it. Okay. Now, now see guys, what I wanted to say. I wanted to say something. I forgot to speak something. Yeah. Basically, what is happening in when the sympathetic nervous system has to work? If you stimulate these fibers, what will happen to the blood vessel dash? This is a cholinergic fiber or a adrenergic fiber? Is this fiber, if I'm teaching is this which fiber? First year people will answer. It is an adrenergic fiber. Very nice answer. It is an adrenergic fiber. Very nice. So what should it secrete? Dash. It should secrete noradrenaline. Noradrenaline does dash to the vessel. Noradrenaline does dash to the vessel. Vasoconstriction. That's a beautiful answer. You will be having vasoconstriction. Very nice answer. So this will vasoconstrict. What is the action? What is the action of sympathetic nervous system on the vessels? Vasoconstriction. What will vasoconstriction do? Dash. If you are vasoconstricting, you will be increasing the venous return, isn't it? If it is a vein, then you will be increasing the venous return. No, venous return. If it is a vein, then you will be pressing this vein and bringing more blood towards the heart. If you're bringing more blood towards the heart, that means you will be finally increasing the cardiac output. Can I say there is shifting of blood happening? Shifting of blood from vessel to arteries. Can I say there is finally shifting of blood from veins to arteries? Think and tell me. Beautiful answer. Yes, sir. Why? Because, sir, definitely you have two systems. One is a venous system, one is an arterial system. This is an arterial system, this is a venous system. And you have a heart in the middle. So, sir, if you are doing vasoconstriction of venoconstriction, if you are increasing the constriction of these vessels, all the blood will be drawn into the heart. That blood will come into the right atrium, right ventricle, and that will go into the pulmonary system, and from the pulmonary system that will come into the left atrium, and then from the left atrium it will go into the left ventricle. From the left ventricle it will go into the aorta, ascending, descending abdominal aorta, and finally coming to you as a artery. Who is having any doubt in this word? You should think more focused. Are we clear? Are you actually increasing the BP now? Are you increasing the BP? Yes, sir. That's a beautiful answer. So what will happen again? So what will also happen? What will also happen? Beautiful answer, Sana. Beautiful. Everyone is very nice, very intelligent people. First year only. Very nice. At this level, you are able to understand. It's very nice. Now, this is done, sir. Heart. Sir, what will happen to the heart? Yeah. cardiac heart rate will increase. And will you also increase the myocardial contractility? I have taught you the effects of sympathetic system. Will you contract more? Yes, sir. Will you increase contractility? Yes, sir. Will you increase the heart rate? Yes, sir. Definitely. Can I say this system is a positively chronotropic agent? Positively chronotropism is happening. Chronotropism. What is chronotropism? Heart rate is increasing. Can I say also positive inotropism is happening? Inotropism. Inotropism means contractility. So what are the two effects on the heart? Dash and dash. Speak in this language only. Tropism. What two tropisms are happening? Inotropism and chronotropism. Just these two will happen. And there will be other mechanisms also which I will be teaching you. But just for the sake of heart rate, blood pressure, we are learning here. Now what also will happen is adrenal medulla. So you are producing what? You are producing a neurotransmitter here. What will happen? You are increasing the secretion. What does adrenal medulla secrete? Dash. Adrenal medulla secretes dash. Adrenaline. That's a beautiful answer. Adrenaline. Will this adrenaline again do that cycle? Go to the vessels, go to the heart, also through the blood. Beautiful answer. Beautiful answer. You people are genius. Can you understand how sympathetic control is very much important for the blood pressure regulation? So what did this sympathetic system do, guys? What did this sympathetic system do? Sympathetic system did many things. Number one, it did what? On the vessels, what did it cause? I should directly write here. Why to make new diagrams? You should directly write I did vasoconstriction. So make a square here, make a star here. What did it do? Vasoconstriction, like a star. What did it cause? Increase in the venous return. Make a star also. What did it do to the heart? It increased the heart rate. So you should be writing positive chronotropic action, positive inotropic action. Very nice. What did it do? It increased the secretion of adrenaline, catecholamines. So you should write adrenaline, catecholamine. Who is having any problem with this? Okay. Now, can I give you a surgical episode? Can I give you a surgical episode? What happened last time in the hospital? Okay. While I was on call. Okay. What happened is I had a patient who had a road traffic accident. And after some investigations using some tests, I was able to see that his spinal cord was having a transition. Cut, simply I can tell you for your purpose, a transaction was happening. Spinal transaction had happened. Spinal transaction had happened. Can you understand spinal transaction? This is spinal cord and now you are having some cut here. Okay, like this. Okay. Do you think that patient's blood pressure should increase or decrease? If increase, why? If decrease, why? First, you should write a very nice answer. That's a beautiful answer. It will decrease. Why it will decrease? Because you are not able to throw a sympathetic outflow. You are not able to throw a sympathetic outflow, sir. We are not able to produce a sympathetic outflow. How can we? Can I say a patient who had a spinal transaction will have hypotension? Blood pressure will decrease? Is this difficult to understand? Yes, because you have cut the nerves. Yes, exactly. Think like that. Now, can you understand from your first year that when a person comes with that spinal transition, why his BP falls? Can you get all this diagram in the brain at that time? It is so simple diagram, but will change your life. Will his BP fall? Do I have to do some Do I have to do something to increase his blood pressure? Otherwise, he will die with shock. He will not be having perfusion, a nice pressure, blood flowing to the tissues. That's what I wanted to tell you. Okay. Now you were supplying the blood vessels, noradrenergic fibers were supplying your blood vessels. Now if if I stimulate the arteries and arterioles of the skeletal muscle, what is the effect during the exercise while you are running? While you are running, please listen to the question first, guys. You are running, and during running, do you want more blood to the muscles or less blood to the muscles? You want more blood to the muscles. So do you think that your vessels should constrict or dilate? Do you think your vessels of the skeletal muscles, please listen to my word, vessels of skeletal muscles, how, my dear? Dilate. Very nice. Dilate, because if you dilate, you will have more blood coming to the muscle. If you dilate, I have taught you in the hemodynamics. So that means, should I vasoconstrict the skeletal muscle vessels or dilate in the sympathetic activity? Very nice answer. Very nice answer. That's a beautiful answer. So which system is doing this, sir? There should be a system. If you said, sir, you said before your discussion that sympathetic vasoconstrictor systems are actually causing vasoconstriction of your blood vessels, isn't it? And increasing the BP. But here you are telling us that there is happening vasodilatation of the vessels. So basically that system which is happening, which I can make you understand, is the vasodilator system. This was the vasoconstrictor system what we studied right now. Where is the vasoconstrictor system? Where was that vasoconstrictor system? Where did we write that? We were writing this, yeah. So this system is finished. This system we have understood, vasoconstrictor system, how this can happen. Now I'm going to tell you this vasodilation system. See, vasodilation system, we are talking about the skeletal muscle vessels, okay? This was for general, arterioles and vessels. This is for skeletal muscle. So I will make skeletal muscle for you, skeletal muscle and blood vessel inside it. So we are dilating this. We are dilating this. Here we were constructing. Here we were constricting it. Yeah. Basically, what is happening is there is a system. By the way, that system is starting from your cortex. That system is coming from your cortex, frontal cortex. So this is your frontal cortex. This is your eye, for example. If this is your eye, this is your frontal cortex. Okay, this is your frontal cortex. So what is happening that I take the brain section. Okay, I take the brain section, and if I take the brain, you have this God is so beautiful, isn't it? Isn't, guys? Okay. So if this is your eye, so if I take the frontal cortex, okay, let me write like this. That let us make it simple, okay? Let us make it in a tabular form so that it becomes easy for you to remember. Otherwise, you will get lost in the fibers if I start making the fibers. So let me make the life easy for you, okay? So you are writing this, okay? Vasodilator system, okay? So let me make it like this. So what is happening is you have this is your frontal cortex. So this is a frontal cortex. Frontal cortex in the brain, okay? From this frontal cortex, you have a connection at the hypothalamus. So let me make a hypothalamus for you. This is the hypothalamus. Should make in a tabular form, okay? So that life becomes easy. Hypothalamus. You have a connection from this, the connection, okay? You have a connection from this area. This connection is supplying your hypothalamus. From the hypothalamus, what is below this? It goes to the midbrain. It goes to the midbrain. Now it goes into the, let me make the brain components like this, okay, so that you remember more. So brain components like this. So you have hypothalamus, and from hypothalamus, midbrain is connected. Midbrain and medulla. Now see, from the midbrain, now it has landed into the midbrain. From the midbrain, you will have a straight connection. You won't be having any relay. Can you see the relay? See here, I saw relay in the hypothalamus. Relay. Can you see the relay? This is a relay. Okay, they are relaying. But I won't be seeing this relay here in the medulla. In the medulla, I won't be seeing any relay, guys. Medulla. Okay. Can we see any relay? Can we see any relay, guys? No relay. No relay. Okay. So then I go into the spinal cord. Then I go into the spinal cord. This is my spinal cord now. Spinal cord. This is my spinal cord. Okay. Spinal cord. From the spinal cord, which horn dash? Which horn dash? What should I make in the spinal cord dash? Which horn, guys? See, it's so easy when you make common sense. Which horn? Beautiful. No, it goes to the intermediolateral horn. Intermediolateral. Yeah, this. Okay. We don't have this section here. Section is different. The section will be again like this. Yeah. So we have intermediolateral horn. So we have this intermediolateral horn. So again, this intermediolateral horn, it will relay. Intermediolateral horn. And from this intermediolateral horn, it will go into the sympathetic ganglia, isn't it? Sympathetic ganglia. And from the sympathetic ganglia, where it will go? Into the skeletal muscle. Skeletal muscle. So this is your skeletal muscle, and in the skeletal muscle you have blood vessel. So it will go into this blood vessel. Oh, this all got deleted. So this is the blood vessel of the smooth skeletal muscle, of the skeletal muscle. So I will explain this and then we end the class. Basically what is happening is, when you are stimulating these fibers, these are called sympathetic cholinergic fibers. These are called sympathetic cholinergic fibers. So these sympathetic cholinergic fibers are supplying dash. So if I tell you which fibers are supplying the blood vessels, what you will say? Vasoconstricting fibers. Noradrenergic vasoconstricting fiber. But if I say skeletal muscle vasodilator system, which system? Sympathetic cholinergic fibers. Sympathetic cholinergic fibers. Okay, and this will cause what is the origin? You should write origin is, this is the origin. Sir, this is the origin. What is origin? Frontal cortex is origin. Frontal cortex is origin. Okay, where we are not able to see the relay, we can't see the relay, where is no relay in the sympathetic constrictor in the system, Dilating system, medulla. Very nice answer. There is no relay in the medulla. Okay. So why they are going in the medulla? Medulla has cardiovascular center. Okay. Medulla has cardiovascular system. Fine. Fine. So in the vasoconstrictor system, what you were doing? You were doing a, you were having a what? Where is that? You should remember there was some tonic discharge happening. But remember, these sympathetic cholinergic fibers have no basal tonic discharge. Have no basal tonic discharge. Okay. So I hope you have understood at least this diagram. Please understand these two systems and we will be continuing tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.